At this time, teachers, you can go ahead and set up your, however it is that you're linking into today's assembly.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Hauser Junior High Veterans Day program. This is an opportunity for the Hauser community to show our respect and gratitude for our veterans. Please stand for the posting of colors by Boy Scout Troop 24 and 92. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and the performance of the Star Spangled Banner at the Hauser Wing on. Color guard, attention. Color guard, forward march. Color guard, halt. Scout salute. Color guard, post the colors. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color guard, about face. Color guard, return to ranks. You may now be seated. We are here today to honor our veterans, to remember their achievements, their courage, and their dedication, and to say thank you. The service members we honor today come from all walks of life. but they share several fundamental qualities. They possess courage, pride, determination, selflessness, dedication to duty, and integrity, all qualities needed to serve for a larger cause than oneself. As our community gathers in the auditorium today, and through YouTube Live as well, it should be apparent that our honored guests deserve nothing but the utmost respect. It is the least we can do for these veterans that have served our country to protect our freedoms. Thanks again for joining us this afternoon. We hope you enjoy the program. Hauser 8th graders Oscar Barsua, Akemi de Lemos, and Antonio Garcia will now read and perform The Little White Table.
America's White Table. It was just a little white table, but it brought tears of pride to my Uncle John's eyes. The Veterans Day, he came for dinner and stood by it, set for one person, even though nobody would be eating at it.
It was just a little white table. Rather, that day, Mama told Gretchen, Samantha, and me the little white table we were setting for Veterans Day was just like the ones that stood across America in the dining halls of the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Air Force since the Vietnam War ended. The tables honor the men and women who served in America's armed forces, especially those missing in action, our MIAs and those held prisoner of war, our POWs.
It was just a little white table, but it felt as big as America when we helped Mama put each item on it and told us why it was so important. We use a small table, girls, she explained first, to show one soldier's lonely battle against many. We cover it with a white tablecloth to honor a soldier's pure heart when he answers his country's call to duty. We place a lemon slice and grains of salt on the plate to show a captive soldier's bitter face and the tears of families waiting for loved ones to return. She continued. We push an empty chair to the table for the missing soldiers.
We lay a black napkin for the sorrow of captivity, and turn over a glass for the meal that won't be eaten, she said. We place a white candle for peace, and finally a red rose and a vase tied with a red ribbon for the hope that all our missing will return someday. Mama finished speaking just as the sunlight spilled over the table and filled the overturned glass.
It was just a little white table, but it suddenly made me want to burst with a feeling I couldn't explain when Mama told us how much our setting the table would mean to Uncle John that night. She told us something we didn't know. Our Uncle John, who gave us big bear hugs and spun us with airplane twirls and called me his kitty girl, was a POW in Vietnam before we were born.
It was just a little white table, but it gave us the courage to ask Mama what happened to Uncle John in Vietnam. She quietly told us his story. When Uncle John served in Vietnam, he was sent on a rescue mission, and his helicopter was shot down behind enemy lines, she began. And he and his 3 crew members were taken prisoner. One crew member named Mike had serious wounds from the crash, but Uncle John and the other men tried to help Mike get better and persuaded a guard to bring Mike medicine. Then, one day, when a guard looked away, Uncle John and the others had a chance to escape, but Mike was still too sick to go. So Uncle John stayed behind because he wouldn't leave a fellow soldier alone so far from home.
But how did Uncle John get free? We asked Mama. Sometime later, Uncle John had a chance to escape again, and somehow he was able to take Mike with him, carrying him on his back and collecting just enough rainwater in the big leaves to keep him alive until Uncle John found an American infantry unit to help them. Even though Uncle John did everything he could to bring Mike home alive, Mike's wounds were just too serious, and he died before the rescue helicopter landed. I know that Mike was only 20 years old, and he dreamed of playing football, but he loved America enough to give his life for his country when duty called. And I know how much Uncle John loves America too, but he learned when helping Mike that a soldier risked his life for a fellow soldier, because the best of our country lives in every man and woman who would lay down their life for you too.
It was just a little white table, but it needed words of gratitude, like Mama's Thanksgiving meal. So before Uncle John arrived for dinner, Gretchen, Aunt Samantha, and I decided to put 3 gifts of our own on the table to honor our veterans. Gretchen colored pictures of all the objects on the table, and Samantha wrote out the words of "My country, 'tis of thee" as a tribute in song. But I didn't know what I, a 10-year-old girl, could ever put on the table that was as important as each veteran's gift of freedom to me.
It was just a little white table, but it took my words when I hugged Uncle John goodnight and to thank him for serving our country so bravely. So I just hugged him even harder and told him I loved him. Uncle John hugged me back even harder than I hugged him.
And that's when I knew what I could put on the table. My promise to put the words from my heart into a little book about America's white table. And in the book, I'd use Gretchen's picture and Samantha's song, and Mama's story about Uncle John and his friend Mike, because I hoped that everyone who read it would set a white table on Veterans Day too. So the brave Americans the little table honors won't ever feel forgotten by the country they love so much.
Then, in the salt on the little white table, I traced in the grains of their families' tears what each man and woman who serves America is to me, a hero. And that's when I saw tears of pride fill my Uncle John's eyes.
The Hauser Wind Ensemble will now perform a march. We are very honored to have these veterans with us today. We ask our veterans to please come to the front of the auditorium. Each veteran will be introduced by the Hauser staff member or student who is related to them. We ask Hauser students and staff to please come forward and stand by our veteran. Veterans, please tell us about your military service.
All right, I'm going to introduce Jim Bonish. We really appreciate you being here. We'd love to hear about your service.
Thank you. I'm the father of Jaden Bonish and Aaliyah Bonish here. So I was in the Navy from 1992 to 1996. It was a lot of fun. I worked hard. I learned a lot of things. I got to travel. I spent 3 of the 4 years of the Navy in Japan, and I did about a year and a half of sea time. Not consecutively, but about a year and a half of sea time. I got to travel to countries I had never even heard of before. I'm really glad I did it, and I'm glad I got out after my 4 years too.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Wallace. This is my son, Liam Wallace. He's a 7th grader here at Hauser. I served in the Army Reserves from 1989 to 1996. I got to go to a real fun fireplace, Fort Knox, Kentucky. And I was an armor officer there. So we had a lot of fun. Then I came back and served in a reserve unit in Arlington Heights, Illinois, where we trained trainees, did basic training type stuff down in Fort Knox, Kentucky. So it was a lot of fun and learned a lot. Gave me a bunch of leadership skills, which I appreciate and still use today.
I was honored to be here today by my granddaughter. Grace Costello. I'm Staff Sergeant James Costello from the United States Marine Corps, 1951 to 1956.
Hi, I'm Nicole Tamburino-Lee. I'm here with my son, Henry. I was in the Army Reserves for about 8 years, 2 years inactive, and did it for the college and traveling, and then realized how much I learned in terms of, like you had said, like leadership skills and using it. Even now, I always refer to the chain of command and making sure you're following what you're supposed to be doing. So I had a great experience, priceless.
My name is Dave Smith. I was invited here to attend by my wonderful granddaughter, Laurel, and I'm proud to be here. I served in the U.S. Army as Sergeant, 1st Infantry Division, Vietnam, 1966, Ben Wong, Cu Chi, Vietnam.
My name is Nicholas Hoffman. I was invited here by my grandchild, Riley Cavalier. I don't see him, so hopefully he's in class. I'm going to see him tonight, however, because his brother's birthday happens to be on Veterans Day, so we'll be celebrating that at our home today in Riverside. I was in the Army from 1963 to 1965. I was attached to the 7th Army and stationed in Stuttgart, Germany, for a year and a half. Thank you for this wonderful.
Hello, my name is Rene. I was invited here by my granddaughter, Sophie. She was nice enough to invite me. Us veterans appreciate this ceremony you're holding for us. I was in Augsburg, Germany from 1964 to 1966. I was a Jeep driver. It was mainly being combat ready on convoys into the woods, mostly in the winter. And it was a chilling experience. Okay.
Hi, my name is Brandon Beck, Lieutenant, United States Navy, served from 2000 to 2007 during our Operation Iraqi Freedom. This is Ethan. He was my son, of course, and I'm grateful that he invited me. He's also surrounded by an uncle who served the United States Army and a grandfather who served the United States Air Force. So we've had a lot of privilege there. Wonderful experiences, tough experiences as well. But I also want to echo, I think what you were going to say is thank you everyone in Hauser and the community for inviting us over and celebrating with us. And it means a lot to us and we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Please stand for a moment of silence. In honor of those who have given the supreme sacrifice, we pause for a moment of silence. This concludes our Veterans Day program. Students may resume their regularly scheduled classes at this time. And an announcement will be made soon about when to release students for 10th period.
Can we give one more round of applause for our veterans, please? We really appreciate your service and thank you so much for coming here and celebrating with us today. We do have a small gift for you as you're leaving today, but really appreciate you being part of our community and being here.
Thank you.
Very nice of them.